Whatever the Arizona Cardinals choose to do with Kyler Murray, which will most likely be trade him, they've got to do it quick. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast platform. Daniel Jeremiah, Mock Draft 2.0 is out. Talk about that in the third segment. I'm out on Malik Willis. I'll explain why in the second. But the big next hurdle that needs to be circumvented for the Arizona Cardinals is what they're going to do with Kyler Murray. Now, there are conflicting reports on potential landing spots, if they're going to cut him, what they're going to get for him if they do trade him, and everything in between. So during the cold open, during the teaser, I said the Cardinals need to do whatever they're going to do quickly. Okay, there's layers to that. I'm not saying be hasty and take the first offer that's offered and just go. That's not what I'm saying. He's owed money in the middle of March. So they're going to have to cut him or trade him before then. For me, it's the restart process. The quicker you can get to the restart process and see that it's real and see that it's tangible, the better. This isn't whoops, screw the pooch, paid him all the money. Now I got to figure out how to, let's get a fifth round pick for him. The first person that offers it, we're out. No, there's going to be a market for Kyler Murray. Okay. There's a market for Malik Willis. Okay, which I'll talk about in the second segment. That shows how dire this offseason is. And that's not a knock on the young gentleman who's been in the league 4 years and never really done much outside of win a couple games in Green Bay that has been magnified. Kyler Murray is the belle of the ball this offseason. Kyler Murray is the #1 quarterback asset available this offseason, whether it be through free agency or trade. So while doing their due diligence, of course, the Cardinals, they got to do it quickly. They got to figure it out. So then the Mike LaFleur tenure can officially begin. Every day matters with this stuff. Again, not saying, got to do it tomorrow or they're screwed. But the longer this goes on, the longer, they're, discussing with other teams, whether it be the Jets or Minnesota, who's a name that's kind of risen up the ranks, even though they're in salary cap hell. They got their GM fired. So I don't know exactly how that would work. Atlanta's been floated. Like, there are other teams that have been floated. Cleveland has been floated. There are suitors. So while my pipe dream, I guess, and I thought rational, the Cardinals would be able to get a fringe first round pick for him, may be dead. Try to get as much as you can and go. Try and get as much as you can and move off. It will be the Band-Aid pulled off that took, for some, 7 years to do. For those that didn't think Kyler Murray was the good choice coming out in 2019. It's going to be an exhale. Like one of those, if you're feeling anxious or something, you do that long inhale. It's going to be that exhale, the first one that makes you feel like the anxiety is dissipating. And if you don't have anxiety, good for you. You're one of the lucky ones. But it's going to be like that. And not to say that Kyler Murray causes anxiety or causes any sort of drama or toxicity or anything. He doesn't. He doesn't really cause anything right now. But finding a suitor, finding a trade partner with as, much, as close to right now as possible is it's going to be better for everybody. It's going to be better for everybody. Now, there could be post-1 designation for him cutting for salary cap purposes and things like that if they're going to cut him. I know that he's owed a lot of money this year and half of that next year, which is compounded into a whole bunch of money the next 2 years. What you'd hope and what we've discussed is that the team that does trade for him, if there is a trade partner, will add a year, knock down the cap number this year, and spread it out over the next 2 years, which makes it more palatable. But in the worst case scenario, where for the Cardinals, where either they have to cut him, which is just a bad look. It's like, man, really? That's the player that you paid all this money to. And I know that you can't predict 2 injuries in 3 years and how things happened last year and all that stuff. But if you trade him and a team only really wants him for, to compete for a starting role, you're not going to get more than a fourth for him. And I know that's what guys like Ben Solak and other ESPN people have been saying since the jump, and they're, obviously smarter than I am. But it would just be kind of a bad falling on your sword end for the Cardinals to the Kyler Murray experience, to the Kyler Murray years. But for the betterment of Mike LaFleur, Nathaniel Hackett, even Nick Rowlis, Jacoby Brissett, whoever's going to play quarterback next year, and the team as a whole, say your goodbyes. It's been fun. See you later. And you wish him well. But the worst thing that could happen is you're up like a day before he's owed money for the 2027 year by the Arizona Cardinals. It's like, that's the nightmare field where you're not only going up, against 3 or 4 suitors that are trying to lowball you as much as possible, but now you're going up against the clock. And they've got a month, ballpark, to be able to, maneuver through. But, I mean, that's why when I say quickly, I mean sooner rather than later, in the sense that you want not only as much time this offseason as possible to not have Kyler Murray on the roster, because that means the end is the end. It's over. Even though it's all but. When you actually see, and the contracts are actually signed, and it says trade, Kyler Murray being traded to blank, then you have that exhale. Like, okay, now it's time to move on. This isn't necessarily a purgatory, but it's not a purgatory. He obviously never said anything about Mike LaFleur being hired. Everybody knew that at the end of this season, this was 99% what was going to happen, was he was going to be moved off of, or moved off from. And the quicker you can get there, the better. The more suitors out there, the better. But man, like what Russell Wilson went for to Denver, I think he went for 2 first-round picks and players, and Drew Lock and Noah Fant and whatever. Maybe it was just 1 first-round pick. And they got a quarterback and a tight end, among others. Like, that was crazy. I'm not saying Kyler Murray's in that world of Russell Wilson. I mean, but listen, I know nobody saw the precipitous fall off of Russell Wilson when he went to Denver. Like, nobody. Like, that needs to be, like, studied by science. But, I mean, he was in the vicinity at that point in his career of Kyler. Not coming off a 3-14 season where he didn't play beyond week 5. Not that bad. It's kind of a sad situation to be in for the Cardinals, and I guess for Kyler Murray, but Kyler got paid. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, sad. Oh, you don't want to, like the NBA guys, oh, you don't want to play every night. It's really tough on your body. You're making $60 million a year. That's the one thing where it's like, oh, you're tired. I don't care. That's the only one of the dehumanizing parts of sports is like, you're getting paid because, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go on that rant, but it's sad because it's like last year is a what could have been. The year before, 2024, was like what could have surprised people that is what could have been, especially after going, into their bye week, leading the NFC West and then cratering. This is just kind of the cherry on top of what could have been. And you want them to rip this trading, moving off of Kyler Murray, Band-Aid off of as quickly as possible. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I'm out on Malik Willis. I'll explain why next.
Hey, it's Matt Derry from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary.
Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. You know the drill. You know what it is. Please join the Everydayers Club too, man. Got people coming in. Get a members-only Discord, ad-free audio content. We're going to be doing stuff all off-season through free agency and the draft and everything in between. It's going to be awesome. I'm out on Malik Willis. And it's not a direct character attack on the young man. Everything. So I put this out on Twitter. Everybody's like, man, he's going to be a great leader and he's a great person, all that stuff. I don't doubt that. Packers fans chimed in. A couple people who watched him in college who actually went to the same school that he did, went to Liberty, saw it, and was like, this guy's going to be a starter in this league. Here's why I'm out. Number one, he's going to garner $20+ million a year. Okay, if not a little bit more. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to want more than that. $20 to $25 million a year. The Cardinals have severe needs. They have severe needs elsewhere. He's 6'1", okay? And the most passes he threw this year during his two full spot starts was 21 passes. Okay? Just because Matt LaFleur and Mike LaFleur are brothers doesn't mean Mike LaFleur is going to be as good of a head coach as Matt LaFleur. So while the excitement of the unknown is palpable with Malik Willis, and while the quarterback group that is available, I mentioned in the first segment, is not excellent, that doesn't mean the Cardinals need to ignore Jacoby Brissett, bring in a guy who's never started more than a couple games in a season, and expect him to be potentially your guy for the future. When you have a draft class in 2027, you're most likely going to take a guy in there if the Cardinals are picking top 10. They'll probably take one anyways. I mean, I'm assuming they'll be picking top 10 next year. It doesn't make rational sense to me at all. Jacoby Brissett showed enough last year to where you can start him for one more year. Why would you change it? Mike LaFleur doesn't have any experience with a guy of Malik Willis' skill set. I know Matt LaFleur didn't either, really, but I mean, at least Aaron Rodgers could scoot a little bit. Aaron Rodgers was sneaky quick with the ball when he'd bootleg or if there were broken plays and stuff like that. Matthew Stafford's not. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't. It's like Jacoby Brissett is the perfect avatar for Mike LaFleur. You don't want to add another element to a first-time head coach who is also going to be a first-time play caller while he's a head coach. I know he called plays with the Jets. He's never been a head coach and called plays. He's never called plays successfully for a winning team. I don't care what happened at the quarterback position. Why would you add another element with a different skill set? On top of that, good luck selling that to the needs of Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michael Wilson. If you were going to bring Malik Willis and you keep Kyler Murray, I know they're not exactly the same. I know Malik Willis he's going to be making less money than that, but you're going to be paying some of Kyler anyways. Plus, you've got so many holes in this roster to fill. and you've got a stable force at quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. I understand. This offseason, fans need something to be excited about. Hell, I need something to be excited about. You can't force the issue just because it could be exciting. Well, watch the film, man. Watch the film. Cool. All the 3 games that he's started in his career, he's completed less than 200 passes in 4 years. I know the acute video savants will watch, however many snaps he played with Green Bay last year, or those 2 big starts, both of which they lost, and say, oh, you know what? Those are starter qualities. You know what I saw? Jacoby Brissett throwing for 3,000 yards from week 6 on. That's starter quality also. And this isn't like a bashing of Malik Willis. He'll be, there's plenty of open spots for him. And I'm sure he'll be a good quarterback. Potential to be great. Who knows? Just because Matt and Mike are brothers doesn't mean Mike LaFleur is just going to be able to replicate what Matt LaFleur did with him in a very small sample size. I think it's pretty simple. And he's also, so for the people who are like, well, Monty Osborne was trying to save his job. You think bringing Malik Willis in is going to be the one that's going to, oh, good. This is the swing you want to take to save your job? Bold. So, could it be fun? Sure. Could Malik Willis be a good quarterback in this league? Yes. Has he been in the league 4 years and not been given an opportunity? Yeah. Is there a reason for that? Probably. And even with Tennessee, it's like, I get it. I understand. Green Bay, Jordan Love. He came in and spot started 24, won a couple games. That's like, I get, and good for him. That is a huge leap from that to here's 18 weeks, here's a franchise. Go get him. Well, he can compete with Jacoby Brissett. Why would you bring him in then? If he's going to have to compete with Jacoby Brissett, if he's going to be this guy that's going to potentially elevate this team, why would he have to compete? Oh, because nobody really knows if he's going to be good for 18 weeks? That's interesting. Well, you don't ever really know. Through 4 years, you kind of usually do. Well, Sam Darnold started so many games with the Jets. He started, 5 or 6 games with Carolina before getting hurt. He has a massive sample size compared to Malik Willis. So does Mac Jones. So does Baker Mayfield. So grouping Malik Willis in with those guys is a fool's errand. All of those guys had so many starts. I mean, they're throwing Kyler Murray in with, the quote-unquote reclamation project. That makes sense. He started for 7 seasons, 5 total because of the injuries. But he started so many games in this league. Malik Willis hasn't. So with all of the uncertainty going into 2026, I'd much rather take the floor of Jacoby Brissett over the what if of Malik Willis. Could be wrong. That's fine. Watching tape, I've seen Malik Willis play. I've watched tape on him. If I have to search for the games that he's played because he's played so few, that's enough for me right now. Could be wrong. People love him. That's great. I'm sure he's a great dude. I'm sure he's going to be a great leader, and probably already is. Can't live in the abstract in the quarterback world with the Cardinals anymore. Jacoby Brissett showed that he can move the ball down the field last year with no run game and a bad offensive line. Imagine what he can do with an updated offensive line, an upgraded offensive line, and an actual rush attack that wasn't hurt from week 5 on. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Daniel Jeremiah, one of the best in the business, has a new mock out. Who did he have the Cardinals taking at 3? I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure is on you and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get you the premium job status it deserves. Get your job the premium status it deserves. And Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. I love futures this time of year. Whether it's right after the All-Star break and whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, it adds the extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it can also send you to the final. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Daniel Jeremiah had the Arizona Cardinals selecting right tackle, Miami, Francis Mauigoa. Seeing him a lot more at 3 in mocks than Spencer Fano. When Daniel Jeremiah speaks, we listen. Had an interesting conversation again on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. I don't really plug that anymore. At Clancy's Corner. Really good engagement, really good conversation. If you want to join the Everydayers Club, we can have that conversation there too. I would love to. I'm seeing a lot of, no, you take the best player available at 3. Is anybody seeing an offensive tackle graded as a top 10 best player available, top 5 best player available? Why would you draft for need when they have potentially 2 transcendent pass rushers available? All valid questions. Listen, we talked all offseason. Or we talked all season, pretty much from week 1, how the right side of the offensive line was a problem. Right? We talked offseason going into last season that the right side of the offensive line, until Will Hernandez came back, was going to be a problem. Did we not? We talked after this season that the Cardinals need to figure out the offensive line. It's like people have amnesia right when you see another position drafted around where the Cardinals should draft. Yes, I understand the importance of the pass rush completely. I talked yesterday about how the Cardinals need to focus on the pass rush in free agency, need to focus on the interior offensive line in free agency, and then draft a right tackle. If the Cardinals go into 2025, into 2026, week 1, with an offensive line that's only 10 or 20% improved from what it was last year on the right side, whoever the quarterback is going to get punished all year long. They're not going to be able to run the ball to the right side all year long. You're going to have to rely on Tip Ryman as the 6th offensive lineman all year long. Why do we have to continue to have these conversations every offseason? Why? Every year, the Cardinals struggle with the offensive line, and every year, people push back on them taking the best offensive lineman in the class or one of them. Oh, Will Campbell last year struggled. Is this guy Will Campbell? Is this guy not 6'7" with long arms, who was graded both well in run block and pass block last year and looked at as one of the best offensive linemen in football and college football? You can say that about Spencer Fano too. I know it's not sexy, and I know people want Reuben Bain, and I know people want David Bailey, and they'll help the team if the Cardinals draft him at 3. The most important position group on an NFL roster is the offensive line. I'm sorry it's not sexy. I'm sorry they don't equate to sack numbers. If you don't protect the quarterback, none of it's going to work. So when Daniel Jeremiah speaks, we listen. I listen. And I've heard from one of the best draft pundits. I was texting with him last week or 2 weeks ago, and he's like, it's such a crapshoot in the top 5. Such a crapshoot in the top 5. I mean, it's a crapshoot but which pass rusher is going to go where? Are the Cardinals actually going to take an offensive lineman at 3? Things like that. I mean, the best case scenario for the Cardinals is for one team between 4 and 6 or 4 and 8 who know another team between 4 and 8 want a specific player that they want, and they'll trade up to 3 to get him, give the Cardinals an extra pick, and the Cardinals can still get an offensive lineman at 6 or at 7. Where the receivers go will be fascinating. I think Jordan Tyson is the best in the class. I know he has injury concerns, but I think he's the best in the class. I don't understand it. I had this legitimate same conversation last year. This is what people, I think, are locking into their heads and using this as ammo. The Will Anderson trade. That's the first one. It's like, well, you could have got Will Anderson. Yeah, but the Cardinals got Paris Johnson Jr. and I think it was either Garrett Williams or Michael Wilson. And they traded back up, and they didn't have to give any of their picks, and they got a future first. It didn't work with Darius Robinson yet. But that was a good trade for both sides. And the Cardinals have their left tackle for the future. It's like there are 22 positions on a football field. Or 22 players on a football field. So when you look at the state of the Arizona Cardinals now, the only thing that could change this, as I said yesterday, is if they bring in the best right tackle in free agency and you're good with that and you want to draft a guard or, even another tackle in the 2nd or 3rd round and go somewhere else with number 3, that's different. As it currently sits, if they don't add a top right tackle in free agency, they've got to go right tackle at 3. I don't care what the rankings say. The rankings are wrong every year. This is a historically weak draft outside of some pass rushers, some defensive tackles. Hopefully the Cardinals will draft one of also. You've got a couple really good right tackles. Just take one. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. And I will be doing another bonus episode, or not a bonus episode, another episode today that's gonna air at 6 o'clock. It's gonna be about Michael Bidwell. And we've got our Cardinal Squad show at 4 o'clock today. See you then.